everyone, today for you guys I'm going to be filming this look here. This is inspired after the gorgeous Zendaya. I found this on Tumblr and I posted a picture on it on my Instagram. By the way, my links for all my social media are down below if you guys are interested in following me. And I said that I was probably going to be doing a recreation of this soon, and so tonight I have a little like summer dinner party that I'm going to, and I thought that it would be so perfect to do this look. I think that, you know, even though we're still technically in spring, if you're like me, you're very eager for summer to arrive, and if you're wanting that perfect, just kind of like smoky date night summery eye look, I think that this is going to be great. It's very, very simple to pull together. For this look, I am going to be using the Lorac Pro palette, just the original one, and I wanted to do this because I felt like if, you know, you guys are going to be recreating this look, a lot of you do own this palette, and so it will be easier for more of you to do this if I use a palette that, you know, pretty much everybody has, which if you don't have this palette, please throw away your Urban Decay Naked palettes and go pick this up, because this palette is bomb, and each time I use it, I am reminded how much I absolutely adore it. It is by far a staple in my collection, and you will see how beat up this palette is because I literally use it just all the time. But I hope that you guys find this similar to what I found with Zendaya and just sort of the different elements from the look that I took in. I will have a link down below to the picture where I drew the inspiration, and with that, let's just get started. Okay, to start out this look, I'm going to be taking the Lorac Pro palette, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to start with a really big fluffy brush in the shade Taupe. This is just a medium, I wouldn't say it's too cool or too warm, it's a very neutral, as the name would suggest, taupe shade. And I am, as you can see here, just very messily slapping this all around in my crease to act as our transition shade. Next, I'm going to be taking the Anastasia Original Contour Kit, and I'm going to be taking the far right bottom shade. It's a very warm, almost orangey toned bronzer color, and just using the same brush that I used earlier to apply the taupe shade, I'm going to be basically just doing the same thing with this color. What this is going to do is it's just going to add a bit more depth and a little bit more warmth, since Zendaya's look was very orangey, warm toned. Moving back over to the Lorac Pro palette, I'm going to be taking the shade called Sable. This is one of my most loved eyeshadows of all time. I wish the Lorac would release this in a single because it's my favorite brown eyeshadow. And using a smaller tapered brush, I'm going to be applying this through my crease, a little bit into my outer V, but basically just really focusing on trying to define my socket line. And I'm kind of messy with this because I'm going to go in and clean it up later. For our lid shade, I'm going to be using the shade from their Lorac Pro palette. This is in gold. This is, as again the name would suggest, a very basic gold tone eyeshadow. It's super pretty, mid-tone, not too warm, not too cool. I feel like it really replicates Zendaya's eye look very well. And then I'm taking Espresso, which is the darkest brown in the palette, and I'm using a small stiff pencil brush for this. And here I'm going to be going in and more so defining that outer V, just trying to give myself a lot of definition. Obviously, I do not have the same eye shape as Zendaya, so it's not going to look exactly like hers, but remember, this is just an inspired look. I'm just trying to take the same tones and replicate them on my eyes the best that I can. And then next, I'm going back to my fluffy brush, and I'm just going to be blending everything out. After all that blending, I felt like I needed a little bit more definition, so taking an even smaller, more precise brush in the shade Black from the Pro palette, I'm going to be mimicking that same V shape and just defining that outer corner even more. And then back with the fluffy brush, I'm just going to blend out any harsh edges. Next, I'm going to be doing one of my favorite lining techniques, which is push lining. This is where you just take a flat push liner brush. You can find these online, they're very easily accessible. And using the shade Black, I'm just going to be applying this very, very close to my lash line. This gives a very nice, natural, defined look that doesn't look as heavy as winged eyeliner. And then I'm going in with a Mally Evercolor eyeliner. This is in the shade Black, and I'm going to be tight lining. And then moving on to my foundation, this is the Fiona Styles Matte Foundation foundation concentrate. I bought the one, as you can see here, that says luminous, but it didn't come in the box, so I got the matte version, unfortunately. You can see that it gives amazing coverage. However, the finish was just not exactly what I wanted, so I did end up returning it and picking up the right one, the luminous one, with the luminous one in the box. I don't know if it was a manufacturing error or what exactly happened there, but either way, it's still a good foundation. And then I'm taking the Rimmel Match Perfection Concealer, and I'm just going to be tightening up my face a little bit and cleaning up any little zits. I got my eyebrows waxed and it kind of broke me out, which was unfortunate. Taking the same concealer, I'm going to be applying it underneath my eyes, and then going in with the blender sponge that I was using earlier, I'm going to buff and blend this out. And then once that is blended out, I'm going back to my eyeliner that I used earlier, and I'm going to be lining my waterline. And then I'm going to be going back to that same push liner brush and using whatever eyeshadow was on there before. I'm just going to buff and blend out that eyeliner, really giving it a soft, smoky, hazy, pretty dramatic effect. And then taking some concealer on a concealer brush, I'm just cleaning up my edges. You guys have seen me do this a million times. I love this little trick. It makes such a big difference in helping you create the right shape for your eye. And then moving on to bronzing, this has been my favorite routine recently, taking the Sonia Kashuk cream bronzer and this e.l.f. complexion brush, I think it's called. I'm not completely sure, but it's just like a really funky wide fan brush. I'm just going to be applying a little bit of this product, sort of bronzing and contouring it at the same time, and then going back into the Anastasia kit to set the cream bronzer. I'm just going to be taking a bronzer shade in that kit and just sort of following over it. And then I'm taking the Kat Von D blush in Wish. This is a beautiful peach shade. It's very warm, very almost brown tone, perfect for the summer. I absolutely adore it. And then to do some highlighting, since Zendaya has beautiful glowy skin, I'm going to be taking the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea highlighting palette. And I'm just taking the shade on the far left, and unfortunately my camera doesn't pick up on highlights very well, but I promise that this is poppin' in real life. It's so pretty. Applying a little bit to my Cupid's bow as well, because I love that trick. And then taking the same shade on a small eyeshadow brush, I'm going to be applying this to my inner corner for, again, a little bit of highlight and glow. And next, to help sort of bring even more glow to my face, I'm taking Max Fix Plus and making probably the most awkward stance I've ever done in the history of my YouTube channel. So sorry you guys had to watch that. But I'm just going to be just applying tons of that to my face, and then moving on to mascara finally, which I'm using the Stila Huge Mascara. Also filling in my brows, kind of did this off camera just because I do have a brow routine, but I will be updating it here shortly, so stay tuned for that. And then taking NYX Sugar Glass Slide On, Glide On, definitely a turn on lip liner. Most ridiculous name ever, but this lip liner is so pretty and this formulation is amazing. I just lined my entire lips with that and filled them in. And then I'm taking the Buxom Hot Toddy Full On Lip Cream. I think that this lip looks exactly like what Zendaya was wearing. It's so pretty. It's just a very peachy, warm nude. And that is the final look. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.